Yeah, he was a president for 12 years. He was a president officially for twice for 4, and then, as he said, they asked him as his term ran out, "Would you like to have a third term?" "Well, only if I could stay in the basement and kinda not have to wear a tie and just kinda be lazy and call it in, and people would snap to attention," and that's what his guys did. So he was approving every appointment. That was the presidency he always wanted, but he was too fearful that his legacy would be ruined, and as Biden is now. His idea was, I'd like to cause a lot of harm to the United States and be a nihilist and be a left-wing destructive force and get my agenda through, but my name would be on it. So I'm going to try to be a fake liberal. And then he went out. And then Biden, who was more conservative than he was, at least at one point, was, as I said, an effigy. So then Obama just snuck his guys in there and said, do your stuff, ruin the border, ruin the inner city with crime, get the Soros attorney, critical legal theory, critical race theory, just get out of Afghanistan, distance from Israel, let Iran have the bomb, all this stuff. But his fingerprints aren't on it. But he was, that was what he wanted to do, and he did it.
Obama didn't just retire. He perfected the art of hidden power, moving his agenda from the shadows while Biden played the frontman. Policies radicalized, accountability vanished, and all the while Obama lectured America on sacrifice from a mansion in Martha's Vineyard. Hanson exposes the core paradox, a leader who preached equality but thrived on privilege, steering history from behind the curtain while escaping all the risk. It's the legacy of influence without accountability, and America is still living in its shadow.
And where Obama wanted to be was here, and where he made his money was here, and where he got famous was here, because here were all of these free institutions and market capitalism and safety and prosperity, which he made a career of deriding. And that was like a court jester for the left-wing bicoastal elite. He flew in for narrative number 5. He flew in, as I said, when Trump did it, narrative, Pritzker started it, and I think Obama thought, oh, he can't upstage me, that he's an Illinois governor, but I'm the guy from Illinois. So he flew in, and we mentioned that in the other podcast and said that Trump did it, and Trump did it, and Trump did it. But the funny thing about it, he's kind of like the Wall Street Journal mansions. You know, they have this article about all these homes that nobody can ever buy, and you're supposed to read it. I read it, and then you can get ideas about your home, your little tiny old ancient home, and maybe you can see a counter that you'd like to have. Well, he's kind of in that milieu. His Martha Vineyard 20-acre estate, his beach front Hawaiian acreage that somehow is exempt from global warming tidal waves that he warned us about would inundate everybody. And then the Colorama of the swamp, remember, Washington is a swamp, that he got right in the middle of Washington to monitor, that he's got his, I don't know, I don't want to be foul, so his sort of phallocentric like monument library in Chicago that's really ugly. And then he's still got his Chicago mansion that, remember, Tony Resco gave him the extra, basically discounted yard for it. So he comes out, he emerges like Pastor Obama from one of these places. Sometimes it's to lecture black people, men during the campaign. You're a false consciousness. You don't know what's good for you. You got to vote for Harris. Don't get fooled. You're not, I have to enlighten you, that kind of stuff. And then he flies in and he gives a little sermon, and then Pastor Obama looks at his watch and he talks to his pilot and he says, is it Colorama? Is it Martha's Vineyard? Or is it back to Hawaii? What I like about Trump is he goes to these, it was a wonderful occasion. They pulled out all the stops. There were 2 subtexts of that. One is Trump likes the royal family in traditional England. He doesn't like Sturmer, who was kind of in Alaska on the table seating. And then 2, when the reporters are there, they never really ask about the country that he's in, which is rude. They should say, well, what about England or Britain? Sometimes they do, but they ask about Antifa or something. And then he goes off on a rant in exactly the opposite political theme as his host, Sturmer. And then the guy just looks at him like, So it's pretty funny, but He really likes Britain. His mother was, I think, born in Scotland, and we owe Britain a lot. Most of our languages and institutions come from Britain, and we've been with them side by side in almost every war. So I think the only people who don't like Britain in the United States are mostly the left. And they're starting to like it more because they think it's getting more left and multiracial, multicultural, but they always talk about the British Empire and all the bad things it did if you compare the British Empire to the Spanish Empire or the Ottoman Empire or the Caliphate or the Mongols, all these different peoples who enslaved or took over. It was about the most enlightened.
Or killed.
Yes. It was about the most enlightened entity there was.
If you value honest analysis and real conversations, make sure to subscribe. Hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. What did we miss and what should we tackle next? Your voice makes this community stronger. Let's keep pushing for the truth together.